Chapter 7. The Ghost and the Knife. The dim glow of the oil lamp cast jagged shadows along the cabin walls, stretching and twisting as if they had minds of their own. The air was thick with the scent of old paper, ink, and the lingering smoke of recently burned herbs. The weight of the contract settled between them, invisible but suffocating. The moment was heavy, though Elle had no interest in dwelling on sentiment. A deal was a deal, and now it was time to move forward. Annetta adjusted her stance, her eyes still locked onto him, studying. Now that the deal is made, I think it's only fair we introduce ourselves properly. Elle rolled his eyes. Oh, how very polite of you. You did just force me into a contract, but sure, let's be formal. She folded her arms. I already told you my name, so what should I call you? He gave her a slow, lazy grin. Elle. She narrowed her eyes. Your real name. He didn't acknowledge the question. Instead, he turned on his heel, strolling toward one of the many dusty bookshelves lining the cabin's walls. With the flick of a wrist, he began pulling out tomes and stacking them near her feet. Heavy, leather-bound books, pages yellowed with age, some radiating a faint pulse of power. Then, with an almost amused flourish, he tossed in 2 final editions, Magic for Idiots and How Not to Explode Yourself. Annette looked down at the growing pile, then back at him. Elle smirked. You'll probably want to start with those first. Would be a shame if you lost an arm before we even get to the interesting parts. She exhaled sharply. And where exactly do you think you're going? Out. He stretched his arms, as if shaking off the stiffness of captivity. I have better things to do than babysit. Her expression darkened. So that's it. You'll just leave and not come back. Not until I'm dead and my soul is ripe for collection. Elle stopped at the threshold, casting a glance over his shoulder. Are you sure you'll live that long? The question hung between them, unsettling in its delivery, and before she could formulate a response, he was gone. The neon buzz of the city replaced the hushed quiet of the cabin. Elle's apartment sat high above the streets, nestled in a skyline of glass and steel. He shut the door behind him, rolling his shoulders as he took in the familiarity of his space, modern, minimalist, and void of any warmth. A deep sigh escaped his lips as he collapsed onto the couch, rubbing his temple. A tome, an actual physical tome still in existence. His voice dripped with disbelief. Millennia and a half, and some idiot still dared to write me down. It was frustrating, annoying even. He should have never been summoned again. And yet, here he was, dragged into another human's ambitions. His fingers tapped against the phone screen as he set to work. If Annette thought she could remain a mystery, she was about to be very disappointed. He ran searches, cross-referenced archives, and combed through digital footprints. He checked forums, private databases, and even the darker corners of the web where the occult still thrived in whispers. And yet, nothing, not a single trace of her. Elle's brows furrowed. His jaw tensed as his fingers tapped against the phone screen, irritation festering into something sharper. He exhaled through his nose, resisting the urge to break something. This was unacceptable. Everyone left something behind in this era. Everyone. The fact that she had nothing, it wasn't just rare, it was intentional. His fingers hovered over the keyboard before he smirked darkly and typed a message. You better be reading until your eyes start bleeding, or I will tape your eyelids to your forehead. He hit send, then leaned back, rubbing a hand over his face in frustration. That made him feel slightly better. A ghost, he muttered. How very inconvenient. It wasn't just rare, it was nearly impossible. In this age, everyone left something behind. A profile, a mention, a footprint in some digital graveyard. But Annette, she was deliberately absent. His irritation deepened. He drummed his fingers against his knee, contemplating whether he should smash the phone against the wall, but decided against it. Instead, he exhaled sharply, forcing himself to stay focused. His fingers twitched slightly. There was a familiar itch in the back of his mind, the gnawing frustration that called for release. If he couldn't find her the easy way, he'd have to do it the old-fashioned way. He ran his tongue over his teeth, considering, I suppose I could twist the knife on an old friend. A slow grin spread across his face as he reached for his phone again, this time dialing a contact buried deep in his list. A useful human, once broken and bent to his will. A man in uniform. A man with access to records Elle wouldn't waste his time hacking. The phone rang twice before a tired, gravelly voice answered. What do you want? Elle's grin widened. Oh, don't sound so miserable. It's been a while. I need a favor. A pause. Then a reluctant sigh. You always do. Elle leaned back into his couch, stretching out like a lazy predator. Yes, and you always deliver. That's why we have such a special arrangement, don't we? The man on the other end didn't reply immediately, but Elle could hear the shifting of fabric, the exhale of someone lighting a cigarette. I still owe you, huh? Elle's smirk sharpened. Oh, you owe me far beyond what your little mortal mind can comprehend. Do I need to remind you about the witness you swore didn't exist? The one I kindly removed from the picture, so your career wouldn't be buried under a life sentence. A slow inhale. I haven't forgotten. Good, because as long as I remember I own you, eternally, beyond, you get the picture. The man exhaled heavily. What do you need? I need a background check, a deep one. I'll send you a picture, and you'll dig up everything you can on her. If she so much as checked out the library book, I want to know. You know I don't work miracles. Elle chuckled. Neither do I, but I work fast and I expect the same. You have 24 hours. There was another pause. Then, a resigned, send it. Elle swiped to his camera roll, pulling up the picture of Annette he had taken in the cabin, her face partially shadowed by candlelight. He sent it with a single message, find her, and do try not to disappoint me. He tossed the phone aside, exhaling through his nose. If modern technology wouldn't give him answers, then old-fashioned leverage would have to do the trick. Frustration simmered beneath his composed exterior. Whoever Annette was, she had proven annoyingly elusive, forcing him into a position of vulnerability, one he particularly loathed. His eyes narrowed in contemplation, fingers tapping rhythmically against his thigh. If she thought her secrets could remain hidden forever, she was mistaken. Determined, Elle decided he would wait, biding his time until his human contact delivered the information he sought. The game was only just beginning.